When was the last time you woke up, not just to an alarm, but to your own alignment? Not to a routine, but to a purpose. Not to noise it, but to inner stillness. We all wake up every day, but how many of us truly begin the day with our soul, not just our schedule? Imagine living a life where your first hour determines not just your day, but your destiny. That is the secret monks have known for centuries. And today, let's uncover it together. There's something sacred about the early hours of the morning. Long before the world begins to chase, compete, perform, and pretend, there is a divine silence that belongs only to the soul. Monks have always treated the morning not as a task to check off, but as a gift to unwrap, a personal appointment with God, with self, and with peace. While the world rushes into action, monks step into awareness. While the world picks up the phone, monks pick up stillness. While the world searches for the next thing, monks search within. But let me tell you something very clearly. This isn't only for monks. You don't have to live in a monastery to carry this stillness. You don't need to shave your head, wear robes, or renounce the world. You just need to choose, consciously, how you wish to begin your day. Because your first hour is not just about getting ready. It's about becoming ready. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And this readiness doesn't come from checking messages, rushing into emails, or gulping down caffeine. It comes from aligning your mind with higher wisdom, your heart with peace, and your actions with purpose. And above all, it comes from beginning your day with God. Not a God of religion, but the God of stillness, the God of strength, the God that lives in silence, in nature, and love in you. So today, I invite you to explore 7 powerful principles that can help you start your day like a monk. No matter who you are, a student, a leader, a homemaker, or a dreamer. This way of beginning your day can add calmness to your chaos, clarity to your confusion, and spiritual fuel to your daily life. The first thing a monk does upon waking is not scroll through a screen, think about a to-do list, or jump into the frenzy of what's next. The first thing is awareness. They open their eyes with a silent prayer of gratitude. Not a long ritual, not a dramatic chant. Just a simple awareness. I am alive. I have breath. I am here. And this alone creates a shift. Because how you wake up sets the tone for your entire day. Most of us open our eyes and immediately plug into the outside world. Notifications, deadlines, responsibilities. But the monk's way is to begin not with the world, but with the self. Imagine this. You wake up, and before even placing your feet on the floor, you take a deep breath, close your eyes again. Not to sleep or to listen. Not to the noise outside, but to the silence within. This is what monks have mastered. The art of listening to the silence before the noise takes over. And it is in that silence that we hear the voice of God. Not the God confined to temples or traditions, but the living presence of something higher that guides, protects, and strengthens from within. A monk trains the mind before touching the tasks, and you and I can do the same. In that very first moment of the morning, ask yourself, what am I waking up for? Is it just another day of survival, or can it be a day of meaning? We often live on repeat. Same routines, same pressures, same reactions. But when we pause at the start of the day, we reclaim something very precious: intention. The monk begins the day with intention. And when your actions rise from intention, they carry the fragrance of purpose, the power of peace. Let's take a simple example. Think about how a phone works. You don't start using it immediately after waking. It needs to be unlocked. Similarly, your mind and heart need a moment of unlocking too. That unlocking happens when you breathe, reflect, and align, it doesn't take hours. Even 2 minutes of silence where you sit with your breath and simply acknowledge, I am here. I am grateful. I welcome this day with peace. Even that small act can change the energy of your entire day. Now contrast that with the usual pattern. The alarm rings. We snooze it. Then we scroll. We compare ourselves to others even before brushing our teeth. We start chasing what we haven't even defined as worthy. The body is awake, but the soul is still asleep. But monks flip this. They awaken the soul first. They don't run behind life. They receive it consciously, gently. And it's not just about sitting in silence, it's about connecting. That connection might be with your breath, your higher self, or with God. And you don't need to use words. Sometimes the most powerful prayers are felt, not spoken. A monk connects inwardly before interacting outwardly. They remember that their first relationship is with themselves and the divine. Not their boss, not their inbox, not their bank account. And once that relationship is stable, everything else flows more harmoniously. There's a beautiful truth hidden in every sunrise. Every day is a fresh start. Monks respect this freshness. They treat every morning like a sacred doorway, not to a new place, but to a new state of being. And you can do this too. Start small. The first 5 minutes after you wake up, give them to yourself, not to Instagram, not to stress, but to stillness. Breathe. Feel your heartbeat. Let your thoughts settle. Feel the bed underneath you, the breath inside you. That's life reminding you it's not over. You still have a purpose to fulfill. You still have time to grow. You still have love to give. You don't need a monastery. You need a moment. A moment that says, today, I will not live in automatic mode. I will live awake. And this awakening is the essence of the monk's morning. It's not about escaping the world. It's about entering it with grace. Not just rushing into action, but rising with awareness. Remember, the quality of your morning determines the quality of your mind. And the quality of your mind determines the quality of your life. So why not begin the day like a monk? Not to impress anyone, not to prove anything, but to honor the miracle that you woke up one more time. And that maybe, just maybe, this day could be the day your life begins to change. Start your morning with your soul, and your day will unfold with a power far greater than any planner can offer. Start your morning with God, and watch how even the smallest moments become deeply meaningful. This is the monk's secret. And now, it can be yours too. Have you ever felt like you're waking up each day, but not truly rising? That you're achieving things, checking off goals, wearing smiles, but somewhere inside, the peace is missing. What if I told you that rising with purpose is not just about what you do, but how connected you are to your inner world and to the divine source that breathes into your soul? Today, let's discover how you can rise every morning not with pressure, but with peace, and walk through life with quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and who walks beside you. In this world where everyone is running, some for success, some for survival, and others just to stay relevant, there's a deep hunger rising within many of us, the hunger for peace, the hunger for purpose. And the strange part is, even after chasing the world, collecting applause, gathering wealth, and achieving milestones, we still feel empty inside. We shine in front of the world, but we're crumbling inside. Why? Because the soul doesn't get fulfilled by noise, it gets nourished by meaning. And meaning is not something the world gives us. It's something that is discovered when we align with a higher power, not a religion, not a label, but a loving, guiding force we call God. a universal presence that speaks in silence, moves through kindness, and walks beside us in every moment of life. The real success in life is not just about rising high, but rising right. And to rise right, we must rise with purpose. We must begin our days with the intention to not just survive, but to serve, to grow, to learn, to live deeply, and above all, to live peacefully. When we rise with purpose, we shine with peace. Not the peace that depends on silence around us, but the kind of peace that stays calm even in the middle of life's storms. And that peace, my friends, only comes from a deep connection with the divine, with yourself, and with the purpose you were created for. The first step to rising with purpose is understanding that you are not just a body with goals, you are a soul with direction. It's a shift so subtle, yet so profound that it changes the way you wake up each morning. Most people wake up and immediately enter the world of tasks, to-do lists, responsibilities, and distractions. The body wakes up, but the soul is still asleep. It's like walking through life wearing shoes that don't belong to you. You're walking, yes, but not comfortably, and definitely not consciously. But the day you begin to see yourself, not just as someone who has to go through life, but someone who is meant to grow through life, everything changes. Think of it this way: a phone that is not charged can still look brand new. It can still have the best apps, the most expensive model, and the latest updates. But if it isn't charged, it won't function. The same is with us. We can dress well, look successful, post happy moments online. But if the soul is not charged with purpose, we're just surviving, not thriving. And the only true charger of the soul is alignment with something higher than this world. God, that moment of stillness in the morning where you sit in silence and say, "Thank you for this day, guide me, use me, make me better," is the moment you begin to live with direction. Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers. And if your mind is noisy the moment you wake up, you'll miss the message. So don't let the world be the first thing you touch. Let your soul be the first thing you check in with. Before you touch your phone, touch your heart. Ask it, what am I living for today? Is it to make more money, gain more followers? Or is it to be more kind, more grateful, more truthful to your inner self? That one question can redirect your entire day. Because a day started with intention is a day that doesn't get wasted in distraction. Let's take a simple example. Imagine someone who is a teacher. Every day they go to school, teach their students, come home tired, and repeat. If they see their job as just a way to earn a salary, they'll do it with routine. But if they see their work as shaping minds, planting seeds of wisdom, and preparing future leaders, then suddenly their job becomes a calling. Their mornings won't just begin with coffee and rush, they'll begin with reflection. Because when you know why you're doing something, the how becomes more powerful. And this applies to everyone, not just to those with titles, but even to the unseen heroes. A mother raising a child, a driver starting his day early, a student preparing for exams. Each one can rise with purpose if they see themselves as part of a greater plan. You may not always know exactly what your purpose is in the long term, but you can always choose a purpose for the day. Maybe today, your purpose is to be more present with your loved ones. Maybe it's to serve someone silently. Maybe it's just to stay calm in a situation where your older self would have lost control. Purpose doesn't always look grand. It looks grounded. And that's where God meets us. In the little things done with great intention. Rising with purpose also means rising with responsibility. You are responsible for your inner state. If you don't guard your peace, the world will steal it before noon. If you don't feed your soul in the morning, your ego will take control. Have you noticed how the smallest inconvenience can ruin your whole day when you start it in a rush? But the same inconvenience feels manageable when you've started your day rooted in calmness. That's not a coincidence. That's the difference between starting your day with chaos and starting it with connection. This is why spiritual people across the ages, regardless of religion, culture, or language, emphasize the power of the early morning. Because the morning is when the world is quiet, and so is the soul. It's when you can hear the voice of the divine more clearly, not as a thunderous command, but as a gentle reminder, you are here for a reason. And when you hear that, not just once, but every day, it becomes a force that shapes your actions, your choices, and your very identity. So tomorrow morning, don't just wake up, rise, sit for a few moments, breathe, reflect, talk to God, not like a ritual, but like a friend. Be honest, share your fears, your hopes, your dreams, and then set an intention. It could be one word: peace, kindness, discipline. Let that word guide you like a compass throughout the day. When challenges arise, remember your intention. When the world tries to pull you in different directions, return to your purpose, because the world is full of people who are rising fast. But only a few are rising right. And those few, they shine with a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. Let that be you. Let your mornings not be about racing the clock, but about rising with clarity. Let your steps not be about rushing to a goal, but about walking with God. Then you will not only rise with purpose, you will live every moment as a prayer and shine with a peace that inspires others to do the same. If your purpose is only about personal gain, it will eventually become your personal burden. At first, it may feel exciting to chase your dreams, to run after your ambitions, and to make life all about your own comfort and progress. But slowly, silently, it begins to weigh you down. Because the soul was not created for self-centered living. It was created for connection. The deeper truth is, when you rise only for yourself, you may succeed, but you never feel fulfilled. But when your purpose includes others, when your vision makes someone else's life better, then your journey becomes not only meaningful, but magical. We see this every day in our lives. Take, for example, a young entrepreneur who starts a business purely to earn money. He wakes up every morning with pressure, the pressure to perform, to compete, to win. He may grow quickly, but inside he's tired, always anxious, always afraid of failing. But now imagine the same entrepreneur who builds his business with a purpose to serve. Maybe he wants to help local workers find jobs. Maybe he wants to create something that brings joy to people's lives. His purpose isn't just profit, it's people. And because of that, he sleeps peacefully. He may still face stress, but his heart feels light because he's not running for himself, he's walking with something greater than himself. And that changes everything. There's a very gentle wisdom in how God works through us. When our hearts open to others, we become instruments of grace. We become bridges of peace. Purpose that includes others will always lead you to peace because it connects your soul with the universal energy of compassion. When you help someone else rise, God helps you rise even higher. It's not charity, it's not sacrifice, it's alignment. Your soul finds its highest joy not in taking, but in giving. That's why even the smallest acts of service can make you feel deeply alive. You don't have to change the whole world, you just have to change your approach to each day. When you go out to work, don't just think, how much can I earn today? Ask, whom can I help today? Even if it's a kind word, even if it's giving time to a colleague who's struggling. When you live like this, your energy changes. People can feel it. You radiate something real, something rare. And most importantly, you feel peaceful inside because your day wasn't just about achievement. It was about alignment with a higher purpose. Think of a gardener. He spends hours planting, watering, caring for plants. He doesn't eat all the fruits himself, but his joy is in watching life grow. Similarly, we are all gardeners of life. We are planting seeds of kindness, encouragement, and compassion every day. And whether we see the results or not, those seeds matter. Sometimes a single smile to a stranger can change their day. Sometimes a few words of belief can stop someone from giving up. You may not know how powerful your presence is, but when you live with purpose that includes others, your life becomes a silent blessing to everyone who crosses your path. There is a beautiful freedom that comes when you stop obsessing over yourself. When your purpose includes others, you are no longer enslaved by your ego. You don't constantly worry about who likes you, who praises you, or who criticizes you, because you know you're living for something beyond appearances. That inner clarity gives you courage. It gives you resilience. You don't break down over petty problems because your mind is focused on something bigger than you. That's the strength that comes from serving. That's the power that flows when you become a channel of something divine. Even in relationships, when you shift from what can I get to what can I give, peace enters. So many arguments, so many heartbreaks come from self-centered expectations. But when you operate from a place of giving, your love becomes unconditional. You begin to reflect God's nature, the nature that gives without asking, the nature that uplifts without needing anything in return. And in doing so, you don't lose anything. In fact, you gain everything. You gain joy, you gain trust, you gain the quiet satisfaction of knowing your life is a gift to others. We all want peace. But peace doesn't come from having more. It comes from becoming more present, more giving, more purposeful. When your life starts to touch others, when your purpose is to bring light into even one person's world, then your days begin to glow with meaning. You wake up not with pressure but with power, not with fear but with faith, because you know deep within that your life matters, not because of what you've collected, but because of what you've contributed. So if today you feel empty, restless, or tired of chasing, pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, is my purpose only about me? And if the answer is yes, gently expand it. Make space in your heart for others. Let your dreams include more than just your name. And you'll see, the moment your purpose becomes a shared light, the darkness within you begins to fade. You don't just rise with purpose, you rise with peace. And in that rising, the world rises a little too. Your external environment does not define your peace. Your alignment with God does. This one truth, if understood deeply, has the power to transform how you experience every moment of your life. The mistake many of us make is believing that once everything around us is in perfect order, our job, our relationships, our finances, our health, then we'll finally feel peace. But life doesn't work that way. Life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It flows in waves, not straight lines. And if your peace is tied to external situations, you'll find yourself riding emotional roller coasters every day. Up when things go well, and down the moment something goes wrong. Have you ever seen someone who has very little in material terms, yet radiates calmness? Or someone who's been through painful experiences, but still walks with grace and gentleness. These people aren't lucky. They've simply found a deeper place within themselves, a place untouched by the noise of the world, a place where they are deeply connected to God, not through rituals, but through a real relationship. That connection is their anchor. No matter how fierce the storm, their peace doesn't get washed away. Why? Because their peace doesn't come from the surface of life. It comes from the center of their soul. Let's imagine a lake. When the surface is disturbed, the water becomes chaotic, waves form, everything looks unsettled. But deep down, the bottom of the lake remains still. That's how a spiritually aligned person lives. They may still face arguments, disappointments, sudden changes, but they don't allow those surface level ripples to reach the depths of their being. They've trained themselves to live from that deeper layer, where their peace is not dependent on what happens around them, but on how connected they are within. Alignment with God is not about religion. It's about relationship. It's about having that inner dialogue where you can close your eyes and know you're not alone, where you can share your heart with the divine without fear of judgment, where you know you are being guided even when the path feels unclear. When that connection becomes strong, you begin to realize that life is not happening to you. It's happening for you. Every challenge is a classroom. Every delay is a lesson in patience. Every loss is a reminder of what truly matters. And that perspective is what preserves your peace. In daily life, this is especially important. Imagine a mother starting her day. The children are making noise. Breakfast isn't ready on time. There's a rush to get out the door. It's very easy to feel frustrated, overwhelmed, even angry. But now imagine that same mother starting her day with 10 minutes of silence, sitting before sunrise, just breathing, whispering a few heartfelt words to God. Help me stay calm. Help me be kind. Help me serve with love. That tiny moment of connection becomes her protection for the whole day. It's not that the children will suddenly behave perfectly. It's that her reaction will come from a deeper place, a place of centeredness. She won't be reacting, she'll be responding with love, with grace, with peace. And the beauty is, this kind of alignment is available to everyone. You don't have to be a monk living in the mountains. You can be a student, a worker, a shopkeeper, a homemaker. You just need to pause, go inward, sit with your soul, and invite the presence of God into your mind, even if for just a few minutes. It's in that space that your inner battery gets charged. That's where you remember who you are, not your name, not your job, but your essence as soul on a sacred journey. So much of our restlessness comes from trying to control things that are beyond our control. Other people's opinions, situations that didn't go our way, delays, rejections, unfairness. But when you're aligned with God, you start letting go of control and trusting the process. You don't panic when plans fail because you know there's a bigger plan. You don't hold grudges when people hurt you because you know peace is too precious to lose over temporary emotions. That doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't let pain take the driver's seat of your life. You feel it, you acknowledge it, and then you surrender it. There's a quiet strength in a person who walks with God. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't need to win every argument. They don't need to show the world how strong they are. Their strength is invisible but undeniable. It's in their patience, in their kindness, in their ability to stay calm when everyone else is losing their mind. That kind of peace is rare. And yet, it's available to anyone who seeks it, not outside, but within. So next time you feel disturbed, ask yourself, not what needs to change out there, but what needs to realign in here. Don't wait for the world to quiet down to feel peace. Create a quiet place inside yourself and carry it wherever you go. Talk to God like you would talk to your dearest friend. Sit in silence and just feel the presence. Not as a concept, but as a companion. And then walk into your day not as someone who is chasing peace, but as someone who is peace. Because when you're aligned with the divine, you may still walk through chaos, but chaos will never walk through you. That is the kind of peace no money can buy, no success can replace, and no storm can shake. That is the peace of a soul aligned with God. The first thing a monk does upon waking is not scroll through a screen, think about a to-do list, or jump into the frenzy of what's next. The first thing is awareness. They open their eyes with a silent prayer of gratitude. Not a long ritual, not a dramatic chant. Just a simple awareness. I am alive. I have breath. I am here. And this alone creates a shift. Because how you wake up sets the tone for your entire day. Most of us open our eyes and immediately plug into the outside world. Notifications, deadlines, responsibilities. But the monk's way is to begin not with the world, but with the self. Imagine this. You wake up, and before even placing your feet on the floor, you take a deep breath, close your eyes again. Not to sleep or to listen. Not to the noise outside, but to the silence within. This is what monks have mastered. The art of listening to the silence before the noise takes over. And it is in that silence that we hear the voice of God. Not the God confined to temples or traditions, but the living presence of something